Okay, Garrett, how you doing? All right, setup is clean. I the narrative makes sense, and there's a few areas I'm going to recommend that we make some improvements, or some adjustments, I should say. But overall, I think that the narrative makes sense. So let me go through it the way I'm seeing. Okay, so little buddies are having a picnic, right? They're having some pizzas and they're meeting at the park. Um, what's missing here? Think about it. A boom box, big radio on the table. I think that would add to it. I just think of a lot of times when I see groups of boys meeting at the park for snacks and activities. There's always a boom box associated. So maybe consider that. Right, this leg for the picnic table is really it doesn't make sense. I can't quite figure it out. Can we give this regular picnic table legs, like the A-frame picnic table legs? You know what I'm saying? Or think about a way to present the legs so they more look like legs. Also, maybe try to add some slats of wood here, some wood effect here, shadow and highlight areas, and to a very high degree. Well, you know what? I'll get into specifics in a second. Let me just follow the narrative. So, okay, buddies are meeting for recreation and snacks at the park, right? All right. So one of the buddies says to the other buddy, "Hey, let's play some frisbee." I would recommend that's the frisbee. It's yellow, right? I'll talk about color in a second too. But so the frisbee, let's have the frisbee sitting on the table or on the ground with maybe a baseball bat and some balls and stuff. So we introduce the frisbee in the opening frame, right? So dude picks up frisbee, walks to his buddy, says, "Hey, you want to play frisbee?" So they start playing frisbee. Red shirt throws it to green shirt. Green shirt catches it. Green shirt throws it back to red shirt. Wind catches it, and takes it up into the tree. Then we go to I don't even. I'm not real sure if we need that sign, a light, that trail for the sight line there showing the pizza. I think if we just show dude next to the picnic table with a befuddled look on his face, like one of these looks like, what do I do now? Then the light bulb, right? Then he grabs the pizza, and then we show them throwing the pizza as the frisbee. I think that's pretty good stuff. So a couple of areas we can improve. The color, I think we could. The green shirt is not providing enough contrast, so he's just not recognizable as a main character because he blends in with the background, so to speak, because of the lack of contrast with his shirt in the background. So let's give him a shirt that really identifies him. I highly recommend you put faces on these guys. Not so much maybe in the tiny little distant images, but these definitely, because the facial expressions they show it's going to make all the difference in the world. Definitely. Let's get more detail in here. This isn't really recognizable as dude catching the frisbee, so let's work on that. Um, and then shadows and highlights, absolutely, shadows and highlights. Gotta have shadows and highlights. You might even consider adding the tree to the first frame just for context, right? So, anyways, more detail, more shadow, more highlight, facial expressions, more delineation of recognizable color to maintain the recognition of the one of the main characters. Okay, and then this frame right here where he's throwing the frisbee, I think that's pretty good, but I would add more of the green shirt dude or whatever you change his color to. I would add more of him in there. You know what I'm saying? Also, um, scratch that. I was thinking of something, but it's irrelevant, so I'm not going to mention it. So, anyways, um, yeah, facial expressions, and make sure you have different perspectives, like three-quarter perspective, like that's a great three-quarter perspective, and then that's a front-on perspective, or with this guy here's another perspective. So that's really interesting stuff. I would like to definitely see that little character right there. I definitely want to maybe add a little more detail to these characters. Now, you'll hear me say this throughout the duration of this class. You've heard me say it several times so far. To understand illustration, you need to understand light. And that could be a statement that can be used for art in general. If you to understand art, you really need to understand light. Same thing with photography. Same thing with all sorts of visual mediums of visual communication. So, in understanding light, we are the goal is to depict shadow and highlight from a consistent light source, right? So, what I want you to do is I want you to go over to week 3 announcement. That was our color week, remember? And in the week 3 announcement, we come down here and there's all sorts of tutorials. I think there's 10 or 12, 14 tutorials on how to establish light source, how to create shadow and highlight. in your digital illustration. So I highly, highly recommend you review these resources and apply what you've learned to the illustrations. Another thing is that the illustrations, I think we could create a degree of separation while maintaining a nice consistency with the illustrations and their relationship to the overall picture plane and composition, but creating a little degree of separation by maybe think of creating some sort of a shape in the background. Okay, let me show you an example of what I mean. Okay, this is a great example of what I mean. These jagged lines. Now, of course, this is indicating danger, right? That's why they're jagged, because that's a hornet. So this really stands to reason, those jagged backgrounds. But Shania had another interesting, see these little background, these things that are kind of holding the images, the illustrations together within the composition. That's a really great technique. Think about something like that for yours. My final comment has to do with the ants. The ants don't really look like ants. And so let's really try to get those to be looking like ants. And then we follow that trail of ants. There's 3 ants there, 3 ants there. And ants. Now right here, this frame right here is a little bit odd because there's no trail. This trail right here almost looks like a trail for the Frisbee. So it doesn't indicate a trail that we're following the narrative. So I would move these ants, maybe move this up a little bit and move these ants over here so it doesn't look like it's following the trail of the Frisbee. I think that's a little confusing. Then we'll have this guy actually maybe just standing by the picnic table with this kind of Home Alone, like, what do I do now look, instead of having this trail. Okay, instead of making a connection like that, let's just reinforce the kind of what now thing. And then that'll make more sense with the idea frame, right? Picks up the pizza. Can we show this perspective of the picnic table with him picking up the pizza? Because I think that would just be much, much more in context, right? This is a little unclear right here. And then the final frame, of course, is the and I think with this character you should have more of this character in the frame here. Okay. All right. Other than that, great start. Narrative is very clear. A few issues with the general flow, and a couple of recommendations for separating the images from the background, yet maintaining a constant relationship with the picture plane, and then also a little bit of adjustments with the general flow and some of the techniques. Okay, so if you have any questions at all, please let me know. But fantastic start. Thank you so much for sharing your work, Garrett.